Well, hello everybody, and welcome to this episode of G Bear Homesteading the Desert. It is November 25th, 2018, and what you're looking at here is my computer monitor. Yes, it's a big one. I think it's like a 46-inch, but I like it. I can see it from across the room, and when I'm showing videos to people, everybody can gather around and all see them at the same time. What we're looking at here is my group of playlists. There's 5 playlists on my channel, and some of you don't know about those. You can go back and click on a playlist and start looking at videos in that playlist. And on this one here, this is the one that's most current. This is what you've been watching since I got out here in full-time in April and before that. That's Homesteading the Desert the first 2 years, which is going to change pretty soon. I've got a new title coming up when the new year comes in, 2019. There's 262 videos there. There's 48 videos on homesteading in the desert, wind and solar related. Okay, so that covers all the wind and solar stuff. Then we got plants, trees, gardening, and horticulture. And this goes all the way back to when I was in the OC and when I was air layering my tangerine tree, things like that, and purchasing fruit trees. And this is showing the fruit trees. And that's all before the desert ground squirrels devastated them and killed that whole orchard. But you'll see that stuff in there also. There's only 24 videos there. 26 videos cover electrical experiments and such. And those of you who are interested in electricity and neat little innovations about electricity, that's something to watch. Then we got Homesteading the Desert in the beginning. This is all the way back to where I had nothing out here but I camped in the van, and I had a solar shower hanging on a metal pole, and I had built a porta potty out of desert scrap wood I found laying out here in the desert. So that'll show you how long and some of the gradients where I started and how I moved back up. All right. That being said, you know how to get to my channel because you're on it now watching this. All right, here's my seedlings. There's my radishes, and there's my beets that I just recently started here about a week ago or less than a week ago. And all my seedlings are doing well here inside. And I want to show you down here my okra, which I put in on the 23rd. When I got up this morning, I noticed that 3 of them had sprouted already. So this is a good method of sprouting seeds. Of course, a lot of these seeds are way old, so I'm not even sure if any of them are still good or not, and I'm trying them. But I've got so many, it makes no difference. All right. My black pepper, it's hard to tell if any of those have sprouted because they always stain the cloth when I start them like this. The peas, all 3 of these peas, you can see how they've swollen up in here, and they've got the paper towels are looking like little tents in there. So it's hard to tell if there's sprouts coming out of those or not. It almost looks like there is. The original peas here, they just swelled up, and some of these are soft and rotted, so they're probably not going to make it. Others are still firm, so we'll see. All right, I wanted to show you that part before we moved on outside here. The winds have died down a little bit. We're down to 8 mile an hour, 12 mile an hour gusts today. It was only 4 to 6 this morning, but it's starting to pick back up again. And the temperature's never really warmed up today, so what the heck. I got a little bit done, but I'm moving slow because I ate too much rich gourmet food on Thanksgiving, and I ended up getting a little bit of gout in my left heel, my ankle. And that kind of hurts when I walk, but I'm going to hobble around out here anyway. We're going to move on over here to where the tarp is. And you remember I showed you that the wind just tears up tarps out here. Well, it did tear up the tarp, but we got rain coming Wednesday, Thursday, and they say it's going to be heavier than what we had on the last rain. So I got it kind of temporarily repaired here so I can get another use out of this thing before the winds come and shred it again. But what I used to fix it, because it tore all the eyelets completely out of this thing and just ripped it and shredded it. But what I did was I got these little clips. I bought these years ago at Harbor Freight. I don't even know if they still sell them, but they got these plastic jaws in here that you can clamp on, and then you slide this rectangular piece up and it clicks into place and locks that down so it won't let go. Then I used tie wire to tie it off to where it had torn off, where the eyelets had torn off on the corners and stuff. And I added another one on this side to hold it down. And then I've got my bucket down here ready to catch rain. I'll take, when the winds stop and die down a little more, I'll throw a cup of water up there and I'll adjust the bucket to exactly where the water comes off on the tarp. So I catch the most water that way. All right, got that done. So we're going to move on down. Now, I'm not going to go all the way down to the garden house. I will tell you that the beets and radishes and all of that stuff that I put in the gutter garden are all doing well. And I was in there a little while ago because I had to pluck some of my C-130 carrots because I'm making chicken noodle soup tonight. And I got my carrots. I got some fresh parsley and some fresh cilantro. I like to put cilantro in my chicken noodle soup. It gives it a little extra layer of flavor. So what we're going to do is come over here because I want to show you something here in the battery room. And these batteries, I've mentioned it once before, your battery banks require servicing. And I try to do mine every 6 months. I went 7 months this time because I had so many other things going on, as you recall from my videos. But what you have to do when you're servicing these is this makes it really handy. You get one of these things here. This is a battery filler, and it's got a 2-quart capacity. And you're always going to use only distilled water. Don't use tap water or well water or anything like that. You want to use distilled water. So if you're going to go off grid to a location way out in the middle of nowhere, and you're not going to have access to stores all the time to go get your distilled water in gallon jugs, what you're going to want to do is build yourself a still that you can distill your water right on site with. Now, I will be doing that down the line. For right now, I can drive right next to the post office where I have my P.O. box. There's a little market there, and I can drive down there and pick up distilled water when I need it every 6 months. And usually 2 gallons is plenty to do what I have to do with some left over. So I've got all these batteries have all been checked and serviced with the water. Now, the reason I say you get one of these fillers is if you look at the nozzle on this thing, it's spring-loaded, and it's designed specifically so that the water won't come out when you turn it. There is water in here. And when you push it down, you put it in one of the cells and press down, you'll feel the water gurgling in here going bloop, bloop, bloop as it fills the cell. When it stops doing that, your cell is full. So this actually measures for you. You don't have to be able to lean over and look inside. You don't have to stick your head inside of this little section. This thing will let you know when your cells are full. I look in anyway. Sometimes I use a little mirror. I just put a mirror over there and look in it. And I have a flashlight that I can shine into the mirror, and it goes down inside, and I can see how much water is in there. I only do that because I want to make sure there's no dry cells. And I want these batteries to last a while. So we're in the 2nd year with these batteries. I want to make sure that they go 10 years. Of course, with the battery lifesaver unit right there, that's the BLS for a 12-volt system. That's supposed to triple your battery life. So according to what they tell me with those things, the military's been using them for many years, and they are very successful. They do work well, and that thing was supposed to give you 3 times the battery life. So an average battery for 10 years is supposed to last 30 years. We'll see if I'm still here in 30 years. All right. And the only reason I wouldn't be here is because I had a higher calling. All right, so we're looking at the batteries are all well fully charged here today. Of course, the wind blowing, my little cheapo turbine here. You show it's here. It's what the watts are that it's producing right now, and it just says 0. There it is, 0.9, 1.4. So in this small wind, we're getting 6.9 watts. But the amps here are like real low. It's really not putting out much, but it does. Okay, another thing. When you're maintaining your batteries every 6 months, you want to come in and you want to bring your wrenches in and go post to post, every post, and make sure that every one of them is still tight. Those things will loosen up on you from heat expansion and contraction. When the metal heats and shrinks, you will notice that those are sometimes loose. You don't want loose connections on your batteries. So whenever you get a chance, bring a wrench in, and I need to bring 3 different wrenches in because some of these have 9/16 nuts on them, some of them have 7/16 nuts on them, and some of them have 1/2 inch nuts on them. So it's just where I bought the batteries, which nuts they gave me to go with it. The 7/16, those tall ones, I put those in so I have somewhere that I could clamp on if I have to. I can clamp on cables to those and charge or whatever, because I do have a little 12-volt 2-stroke generator down there as a backup in case I run through this weather thing where 2 weeks straight we don't get any sun, and I can't rely on that little turbine. I'm still saving up to get that new turbine. It's kind of expensive. It's about $400 just for the turbine itself. And I might have to change this rectifier because I don't know if this rectifier is going to be strong enough. I'll have to check it. I got the paperwork here to see if it's got enough amps, or if it'll handle enough amps for a 1685 watt 3-phase turbine, which is the one I'm going to put up there. It's called a KT5. And the price keeps going up on it, but what can I say? I've got other expenses, and priorities are priorities. All right, so we did that. The other thing I do is for maintenance in here is I clean all the dust and dirt off of my inverters and all my controllers and all of that. I dust them all down, make sure they're clean. Now, normally I use a Hudson sprayer with some clean water, and I will spray all the dirt and moisture off the tops of the batteries. My Hudson sprayer is trash right now. And you don't want to use one that you've used for garden chemicals. You want a brand new one that's designed and used just for doing your batteries. You don't want to add chemicals onto the top of your batteries, just clean water. And my Hudson sprayer, the pump has gone out on it. So I'm going to have to buy a new one down the line. But for right now, everything is serviced. Everything's fine. The batteries are holding charge. I'm still going up in the 13s all day long. And then at night, it drops down to full charge batteries at like 12, anywhere from 12.4 to 12.3 to 12.6 is what I get on different readings of my different controllers. All right. That's all. I'll quit ranting. We're at 14 minutes now. I went out, checked my eggs a little while ago. The girls gave me 8 eggs today. So building my second dozen. I'm just a couple eggs short of my second dozen down here. I do bring them to my friends when I go down into the OC. And sometimes when my neighbors here don't have eggs and they ask, I always give them some. So G Bear signing off. Almost forgot. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up down there if you like my videos. And there's going to be a lot of new ones coming. I've got a lot to cover, and we'll be doing another segment on chickens and little hints and tips and secrets about chickens and how to keep them laying eggs year round like I have mine doing. If you keep them happy, they'll keep on laying. G Bear signing off.